Welcome back to my blog on how salt is sneaking into your foods. I know we're all aware that sodium, or sometimes it's called salt, but we'll call it sodium for this instance. We all know that it's very bad for our heart. However, most people, including children, are eating like 3,500 milligrams of sodium every day. It may not sound like a whole lot, but this is 50% more than what you should eat. The guideline is to stick to 2,300 milligrams or less in order to lower your risk of high blood pressure. So here's the down low on sodium. Too much is not even good for our kidneys. When our kidneys have too much sodium, it affects the ability to process it. The excess is stored in our blood. It increases water retention and blood volume. And I know, including me, we all joke and laugh about this happening to us. Oh, I've got water retention, and ha ha ha. But the bottom line is that this results in your heart having to work harder to pump blood, which increases pressure on your arteries, and it causes them to stiffen. So while we joke about it, it's really not a good thing to have that water retention, because it can lead to some dangerous consequences. So how do we reduce our salt intake? Well, first tip is to cut back by inches. Meaning, if you gradually reduce your salt, your taste buds will adjust. I know you think, oh, I could never eat salt-free. It won't happen. It's disgusting. Well, first of all, if you have that mindset, yes. If you always say you can't, you can't. If you say it's always going to be gross, it will be gross. So you got to change that mindset. But if you gradually reduce your salt, your taste buds will adjust. And then once you get used to a lot less salt, you really don't miss it. Tip 2, don't blame the salt shaker. Did you know that only actually 11% of the sodium in our food comes from the salt that we actually add from the salt shaker? So it's not the salt shaker's fault. The 71% of the salt that we consume that makes us go overboard, that puts stress on our kidneys, and it can increase our high blood sugar, it comes from the packaged and restaurant food. It's really, really surprising how sodium is in foods that we wouldn't even expect. There's 10 categories of food where sodium is that we wouldn't even expect it to be. They're breads, pizza, sandwiches, cold cuts, soups, burritos, tacos, savory snacks, chicken, cheese, eggs, and omelets. Tip 3, the bottom line, cook at home. A home-cooked meal, you get to control the salt shaker, you get to use whole foods such as whole grains of fruit, vegetables, and legumes or beans, and is just much healthier for you. So here's some healthy spices. I do have some recipes for some healthy spices as alternatives to those sodium ones, because when you buy the packaged spices on the shelf, you're making your gravies, you're making your taco seasonings and whatnot, it is filled with sodium. It's filled with sodium. So I'm going to post my blog down below this video. If you're watching it on YouTube, if you're watching it through my blog, it's down below at the very bottom. And I've got some alternatives to spices. I have alternatives for pasta, pork, potatoes, poultry and fish, steak, and green vegetables. So I really hope this information has helped you, so you too can lower your sodium intake in order to have a longer, healthier life. Here to help.